that bend, so I had to redo it. But anyway, the Squier Stratosonic. I am loving it. I've now had it for a couple weeks, and put the strings that I like on it, and lowered the action a tiny bit, tweaked the truss rod a tiny bit. The issues that I had from my first review, the tuner's rattling, seems less of an issue, and I've been playing this pretty much constantly for the 2 weeks. I don't know if they're just sort of settling in. I don't know if there was an issue, if there's some lubricant that's sort of working its way around and minimizing the rattle. I don't know. But the nut is cut great. It's amazing. Couple of things that I'm not a big fan of. And keep in mind that my bottom line of this guitar is I would buy this again. If something happened to this one, I would immediately buy another one. This is an amazing guitar. A couple things that I'm not a big fan of, just so you're aware. The fretboard is, I totally forget what it is. But anyway, it's not rosewood, and it feels, it's not sticky, but it doesn't feel as smooth. So my finger kind of binds up a little bit, and it makes the strings feel a little tighter, like I'm pushing a little harder against them. I don't know if it's because the wraparound bridge, maybe the extra string length makes the strings a little slinkier feeling. It's not terrible, but it's definitely noticeable, and I expected them to be looser with the shorter scale length. So that's kind of a bummer. The other thing that I noticed is the wraparound bridge is great, but here's the issue. When I string it up, the extra windings at the ball end of the string stuck out a little bit out of the end. Then when I wrap the string around and, you know, tightens and everything, there was a gap. And for days, week and a half maybe, the strings kept going flat. Every time I would pick it up, every time I would play it, the strings were flat. I tune it all up. Next thing I know, strings are flat. So I'm noticing that this gap is becoming less. So I think that extra little loop where it's not hitting the back of the stop tailpiece wraparound bridge unit is slowly shrinking, and as it's sort of collapsing in molding more to the wraparound bridge, it then of course makes the string go flat. So that's definitely an issue, and I'd have to address that at some point. Next string change, I think what I'm going to do is take maybe a little block and really push that string so that it bends instead of having a little bit of a loop, if that makes any sense. Another thing, the posts going into the bushings in the body were unbelievably loose. Like, you know, they wobbled in the bushing, not a very tight fit. So I put some plumber's tape, Teflon tape around. Then of course on this one here, because the ground goes to that, I then had to use a little piece of tin foil to make a connection, because the Teflon tape of course is not conductive. So now the strings touching the wraparound tailpiece, touching the post that goes into the bushing's grounded, but with the Teflon tape it was insulating the strings essentially from the ground. So I did that, took care of it. So just a thing to think about. The third thing that I'm not a big fan of is the noise on these P90 pickups. I'm really digging the sounds out of these pickups, especially with lower gain. I really like the sound of it. Then when I kick in a little more gain, and especially when I crank the amp up to, like, you know, show volumes and stuff, the noise is too much. It just really is. So if I kick on that, okay, now this, FYI, I should have done this before. This is in the middle position, so that's hum canceling. That's the non-hum canceling. So that's just too much noise. Okay. Even without the gain, this is the amount of noise that we're getting. It's kind of a lot. But I don't know if you notice when I hit those two chords, I could hear the buzzing in with those chords. So it's not like, you know, oh, it's some noise, and then when you play you don't even hear it. I totally hear it. So it's really, it's unusable. I've been trying for the last 2 weeks to sort of figure a workaround, and even a noise gain won't work because when I play, that buzzing still comes through. So, unfortunately, as much as I like the sound of these pickups, although the bridge pickup's fairly weak in comparison to the neck, I'm going to have to figure something out to work around. The push-pull for the different configurations is kind of neat. So with both of them in, that's the hum in series instead of parallel. So that's more like a humbucker with both of them, both of the pickups running. But then the issue is, now the bridge pickup disappears. So you can't leave it pulled out to use both pickups and then switch to the bridge pickup, because you also then have to push the knob in. It doesn't do it to the neck. So there must be something where the bridge is shunting to ground mostly or something. It disappears. And then the in and out of phase sounds pretty cool. And of course that's with both pickups on. And oddly enough, the phase in and out actually makes a difference when only one pickup is playing. So that leads me to believe that maybe there's a slight wiring snafu issue. But at any rate, aside from all of that, the guitar plays amazing, sounds amazing, looks great. I love the look of it. It's killer. Everything about it, except for the things that I mentioned. But anyway, again, all in all, I would totally buy this guitar again. I would recommend it to anybody. It's an awesome guitar.